Yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy Joyful Snake Eyes coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be doing another Sunday service, as I am going to be calling it now. And a lot of this information that I'm going to be telling you guys is going to be from the service that I had from my church, from Pastor Tony, and I'm just relaying that message. I'm just pushing it forward because he has such a good message, and the way he says it is just so profound. He's been doing it for a lot of years, and I just like to push that message to anybody else who may listen. I'm gonna leave the link to the live stream down below as well. So the last time I did the video, we were talking about being slaves to sin, and in this week we're going to be talking about the 5 types of people that you want in your life on your walk with the Lord and your relationship with Jesus Christ himself. But today I just want to focus on the 5 types of people because I feel like that's a general question that a lot of people may want to ask when they're first getting into the relationship with Christ, or kind of building that relationship. They want to see who they need to be around, who they need to hang around, what types of people they want in their life, or what types of people they need in their life. And the way Pastor Tony explained it, I think he explained it very well. And like I said, I'm just relaying that information to you guys right here. So the main topic of discussion in the actual sermon, just in case you guys want to know, was just building a relationship with Christ and the ways to do that. And he talks about how long it takes. It's not something that could just be done overnight. It's something you have to work towards and build towards. You have to make it a habit. And it's about being consistent daily. It's about doing what you need to do with your walk with Christ, but doing it daily. So doing it today, doing it tomorrow, doing it the day after, and being consistent with it. Whether that be reading your Bible, praying to the Lord, helping somebody in need, doing something nice, being thoughtful, being mindful, being patient, being disciplined in yourself. That's something we have to do daily. One good thing that he said that kind of resonated with me was the Christian life itself is easy. It's just the hardest part is doing it daily, being consistent with it and make it a habit out of it. That's where it gets to a point where you actually have to break that threshold of doing it consistently to where it becomes a habit, to where it becomes part of your day-to-day routine. And this is just one of those things where you have to do it daily, be consistent with it. And that's how you build your relationship, which is you build it day by day. So with that being said, let's get into the 5 types of people that you want in your life. So the first type of person that you want in your life is a very resourceful person. And you may ask yourself, what is a very resourceful person? Well, in short, it's someone who ignites your passion for Christ, for reading the Bible, for doing things daily. And a verse that represents that is 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1. And it says, "Follow my example as I follow the example of Christ." The Father was to Jesus as Jesus was to the disciples, as Paul was to Timothy. So for example, in this case, you are the disciple, and the person that is very resourceful to you would be Jesus, because he's the one that encourages you to walk in faith and to do things Christ-like, as they would say. And this goes for you being that very resourceful person in somebody else's life. Now, you may not be at the level like Jesus was back in his heyday, obviously, but you still can be that person that ignites the passion for somebody else. But in your case, you want to know, okay, who is that person in my life that does that for me and my passion? And in this case, like I said, following Christ and building that relationship with the Lord. Having that type of person in your life can be really good to somebody because it keeps you going. It keeps you constantly thinking of, okay, what am I doing wrong? How can I do better? And it's to continually better yourself in this walk with Christ and your relationship with the Lord. The next type of person you want in your life is a very important person. And for this type of person, it's somebody who shares that spiritual passion with you. They have their own spiritual passion and you have yours. But when you guys come together, you guys share in each other's spiritual passion and helps you guys both grow together. And for the verse that represents this is going to be Romans 1, verse 11 through 12. And it says, "I long to see you so that I may impart to you some spiritual gift to make you strong. That is, that you and I may be mutually encouraged by each other's faith." We share each other's passion. We encourage each other to continue walking daily, to continue our walk, to continue our growth, to continue building each other's faith. And in Proverbs 27 says, "Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another." You guys kind of have to want to like to sharpen each other, to build each other up. And that's all they're saying. So you have a very resourceful person who ignites your passion, who keeps you going. You have a very important person who shares in that passion that you are also indulging in. And the third type of person you want in your life is a very trainable person. And for this type of person, it's a person who catches your spiritual passion. Obviously, trainable, you could kind of make sense of that, what it is. It's somebody that you can relay a message upon. Whatever information you may have, whatever wisdom that be upon you, you could pass down to somebody else, i.e. a father to a child, or a parent to a child, I should say, or an older brother to a younger sibling. In that case, it's somebody who is not quite at your level, where you can impart wisdom onto them and kind of help them grow in their faith, in their walk with the Lord. And the verse that represents that is going to be 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 3. For what I received, I passed on to you. And it's something that could be so simple. So in this case, just as an example, Pastor Tony could be both a very resourceful person or a very important person, and I am the trainable person, because he's teaching me all of this. He's showing me what to do. He's telling me how to pray. He's showing me how to read the Bible. He's showing me what to do. And to me, I am just trying to gather all that information that I can so that I can apply it to myself. And then one day I could be to other people what Pastor Tony is to me, or like what my brother Mike is to me. All right, going on to number 4, the type of person that you want kind of in your life is a very nice person. It's somebody who, I guess in layman's term, is just nice. They don't really care about your passion. Almost, they're kind of just hovering around you because they like maybe the feeling or the idea, or they're not somebody that you're able to teach, not somebody that you're able to train, not somebody that's able to catch your passion, to share your passion, or to ignite your passion. They're kind of just there. For those type of people, it's not really the worst, but it's also not the best, but they are kind of just there, like a happy middle ground, to be honest. And they're just, maybe one day you can be the person to teach them and kind of help them grow, but it's also not such a negative thing to have in your life. Is to just have somebody that's kind of hovers in a sense around you. And the verse that represents this is Hebrews 5, verse 12 to 14. For though by this time you ought to be teachers, you have need again for someone to teach you the elementary principles of the oracles of God, and you have come to need milk and not solid food. For everyone who partakes only of its milk is not accustomed to the world of righteousness, for he is a babe. But solid food is for the mature, who because of practice have their senses trained to discern good from evil. So like I said, in short, this is just somebody who, like, one day you could be that teacher for, or you could help in some way, shape, or form. And that is the type of person that is good to have in your life, like I said, for those examples listed. Now, the last type of person you want in your life, the number 5th type of person you want in your life, and this is going to be an interesting one, but it's a very draining person. This is somebody who saps your spiritual passion, who just soaks it all up. And let me tell you why. So for this type of person who saps you of your spiritual passion, it's a good thing because of the fact that sometimes you have to be that person for somebody else, for somebody who's just trying to drain. It could be in a good way, where you could just be trying to teach them and give them all that you can, and it may drain you, may be tiresome, but in the end it could turn into something beautiful. It could flourish into a relationship with God. Sometimes it may just be through you, where it just comes and goes, takes it, and he goes on with his life and then uses it down the road. That's still a good thing. Now, it may suck because in that moment you may be drained, but down the road it could be for something better. It could have done something to that person to make them realize, or to see what they were getting from you and applying it to themselves today. The best example of this in today's world is a relationship with somebody, whether it be a platonic or whether it be a loving relationship between two people. In a sense where you may have this type of relationship with somebody who's just constantly draining you of something. You're trying to teach them and show them, but hey, this is what you should do. This is what life is about. This is how you should be living. And maybe they're not listening now, but they just take all your energy, take all of that passion, they just soak it all up for themselves. They may not use it at the time, but maybe down the road, you see them maybe 50 years from now, whatever, and they applied that to themselves. And now they're doing what you were doing for them, for other people. And like I said, it may suck in the moment, in this case, but it could be a teaching moment for that person. It just may take a little bit more effort. And the verse that best represents this is going to be in Mark 8, verse 11 through 12. The Pharisees came and began to question Jesus to test him. They asked him for a sign from heaven. He sighed deeply and said, "Why does this generation ask for a sign?" And in that case for Jesus, he asked, why does everybody ask for a sign? Why does the generation always ask for a sign? Like, to him, it could have been draining as well as relationships are to us in today's world. But in a sense, you do need these 5 types of people in your life, because it almost comes to a balance between everything. You have the person that drains you, right? But then you have a person you can teach. And then you have a person that can share that passion with you, to give you more energy, to give you more of that spiritual passion to continue your walk. And then you have other people that can ignite that passion And you have the ones in between that are just there to kind of have around, just your middle of the road type of people. But it's almost as if it's a balance, because you have energy from the person that's igniting your passion. Then you can share that passion, and then you have the people who are just hovering around your passion, and then you have the people who are draining that passion of you, and it's just like a full cycle. So if you guys want to kind of look around at your friends and your family and your loved one, your closest ones, and kind of take a mental note of who those people represent in terms of this list. Are they a resourceful person? Are they an important person? Are they a trainable person? Are they a nice person? Or are they a draining person? But for example, if you have more people that drain you rather than ignite your passion, maybe it's time to cut them off, because maybe it's doing a little bit more harm than good. So yeah, just take a look around, do a mental note of the types of people in your life, and decide for yourself whether you need to make some changes, or if you think you find yourself in a good balance. That's good. Like I said, it's just a kind of general rule book of the types of people that you should want to have in your life. And obviously it's not always going to be the case for everybody, because not everybody in your family group are going to be in a spiritual journey with the Lord. But for the people that are, you can maybe kind of take a mental note of that and kind of apply them to this list of the 5 types of people that you'd want in your life. So with that being said, if you guys want to watch the full live stream of the sermon from Pastor Tony, I'll link it down in the description below. I highly recommend it. He does a really good job at explaining things, and he's a little bit more thoughtful and a little bit more thorough. But I am here just to relay that information onto you guys, and hopefully maybe you guys want to start your journey in your walk with the Lord. But this has been your boy Joyful Snake Eyes. I will catch you in the next video, and remember, stay joyful and pray on.